Now let me show you a case which need to be solved. Let me click the start button. Let me place this piece here. Okay. Now I am going to move this piece to another space. That is to this space. Now suppose I try to drop this piece to this space. See, it is not getting accepted. There is no piece present here. Still it is not getting accepted. Why? Because when we dropped this piece into this space, we have added the class name. Which class name was added? Let me show you. For this one, we have added the class name piece present. Once we add this piece into this space, for the main development, we have added the class name piece present. But when we moved this piece from here to here, we haven't removed the piece present class for this particular development. That is why it is not accepting any other piece, though there is no piece already present there. Hope you understand. Suppose I try to move this one to this space. Now what will happen? If you see this one and this development are having the class name piece present. So neither this nor this will accept any piece. So what we can do for that? We can actually remove the class name once a particular element is moved from that particular space, right? So we need to write the code for that. That can be written in the draggable. So here in the draggable, after this, let me write start. That is, once the dragging starts, what we can do? Let me write function. And here, if $this, that is the currently being dragged element, dot has class. Which class? If it is already a dropped piece, then what we can do? We can remove that class name $this dot remove class dropped piece, because that class name will be added later here when it is dropped into a new space, right? And also what we need to do, $this dot parent. For its parent, we need to remove the class. Which class should be removed? Piece present. For this purpose, we have added the dropped piece class here. We haven't used it anywhere inside the droppables events, but we are using it here. That is, if it is already having the class name dropped piece, we are removing that particular class name, and also we are removing the parent's class, which is piece present. Now let me save this and check the output. Let me click start button. Let me put a piece into this space. Okay. Let me move it from here to here. And let me try to put another piece into this space. See, it is accepting. Previously, though there was no piece present, this space was not accepting any other piece. So suppose I put one here. Let me put another here. Let me move this to this space. Let me try to put one here. It is getting accepted. So that part is done. Next, what we need to do, once all the pieces are placed, we need to check whether it is done in the correct way. That is, whether the puzzle is solved correctly or not. So how we can do that check? Once we place all these pieces, we need to check whether these are in the order. But as of now, even we don't know what the correct order is, right? So when we initially put the pieces in this space, we can have a data attribute added. So where we need to do that? Initially, here when we specify 16 div elements along with the class name, what we can specify is that data attribute can be added. For that, I can set values from 1 to 16 or 0 to 15. Okay. So for data order, let me initialize a variable named order equal to 0 here, and it should be incremented inside the for loop, that is inside this loop. If we increment it here itself, it will have values like 0, 1, 2, 3 only. But if we increment it here, it will have values from 0 to 15, right? So let me specify order plus plus, and here what I can specify, let me end this string, then plus order, and then put a plus and start a double quotes. So this will become a string and this will be a value, right? Now let me save this and check whether it is getting added correctly. Here let me expand this. This is the puzzle container. See, order 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are having up to 15. Now once all the pieces are placed in these spaces, what we can do, we can check whether the order is correct or not. So how we can do that? After this, that is inside the implement logic, after appending, each time this gets appended, let me call the function check if puzzle solved. Why I am calling this function here? Because we are actually dropping the pieces here in the drop event, right? So I am writing check if puzzle solved function, and let me copy this because the name is a bit lengthy, and let me write the function here. Function, the name is check if puzzle solved, and now we can initially check if 16 pieces are already placed or not. Then only we need to make the check, otherwise we can just return false, because only once all the 16 pieces are placed, we need to check if the puzzle is solved correctly or not. So how I can check it? If $hash puzzle container dot droppable space, it is the name of the class, right? What is the class name? We have added, sorry, it is not droppable space, it is dropped piece. Once all the 16 pieces are dropped, so we can check dot length. If it is not equal to 16, then we can just return false, because 16 pieces should be there, then only we need to make the check. Return false. Otherwise, let me run a loop for where k equal to 0, because we started the index from, or the data order from 0 to 15, right? K equal to 0, k less than 16, k plus plus. Within this, let me access each element, that is each div element one by one. So where item equals $hash puzzle container, let me copy this, and here I'm going to use EQ to filter them. So EQ, and we need to set the value, because EQ access elements using index starting with 0. So let me put a double quotes, and here also one double quotes, and within this let me put the value k. Okay, so we are getting div element one by one. Then where order equals item dot data of order, because we can use the data method to get the value of data attribute. So what will this return? This will return the order of that particular element. That is, if the order of the first element is 0 itself, then that piece is correctly placed, right? Like this, it should happen for all the 16 pieces. So here what we need to check, if k equals order, what does that mean? The game is solved correctly. So we can do the negative check here. If k not equal to order, then what should we do? Let me display the message. We are actually displaying the message in the piece container itself, right? So $hash piece container dot text as oh or ouch, try again, which means that it is not solved correctly, right? And we also have to specify return false. Now if k is equal to order, then what does that mean? The game is solved correctly. So if it comes out of this loop, which means that the game is solved correctly, because at any stage if the value of k is not equal to order, then it will return false. And if this does not happen at any stage, which means that this loop is completed successfully. So in that case, what we can do, we can specify $hash piece container dot text as wow, you are a genius. You can specify whatever message you want. I'm just specifying the message like this, you are a genius, and we need to specify return true. Now let me check that part. Let me click start. Let me try to move the pieces, all the 16 pieces at some random order. See, we are getting ouch, try again. Now on the click of the reset button, we should actually reset the game. Like the original image should be displayed here. Then we need to remove this message and all. So we need to write the code on the reset button, and also we need to play the game correctly, right? To check whether it is working or not. So we will do it in the next lecture.